everyone. I hope you're all blessed in Jesus Christ tonight. And I wanted to do a special presentation on the Scopes monkey trial, Christianity versus evolution. With this presentation, we're going to examine a few very interesting headlines from the Library of Congress that some of this stuff I actually never knew, but just to do a brief summary of what the Scopes monkey trial was, it was actually the one of the biggest trials of the 20th century. And basically it was the state of Tennessee versus John T. Scopes, who was a public school teacher who was actually being brought to trial for violating a Tennessee law where the teaching of evolution was prohibited in state funded schools within Tennessee, of course. So this brings the two attorneys of William Jennings Bryan versus Clarence Darrow, basically the legal boxing match of the age. So this was like a who's who of court battle. So this was not for the faint at heart, if you will, but basically, the trial was held throughout July 2000, not 2000, but July of 1925, and it basically brought the debate of Christianity versus evolution to the mainstream. So, some of the headlines that I was examining from the Library of Congress were very interesting, but let's take a look at this article here. And this actually talked about banning of books. Let's just take a look at the first paragraph and what it says. Just as the early Christians committed the most atrocious acts of vandalism against the literature of ancient Greece, which culminated with the sacking and burning of the magnificent library of Alexandria. Ouch. So the modern self appointed uplifters and purifiers want to scourge from the earth every glimmering of human intelligence and reduce humanity to their own low level. The latest outburst following the notorious anti evolution agitation, the Scopes monkey trial at Dayton, Tennessee, and the Bemba blasphemy trial at Brockton, Massachusetts occurred at Albany, New York, where a group of irresponsible freaks gathered in an effort to place a clean books bill upon the law books of the state. My, isn't that very flattering? But anyway, where Christians were being described as nothing but a bunch of individuals who wanted to sanitize any form of knowledge, if you will, to ban books and vice versa. Although I have quite a bit of trouble believing that that even had a scope of representing overall or majority of Christians throughout the United States, anyway. But I found that article particularly interesting. And then we might even see a particular case of martyrdom. Um, According to this headline from uh, Clarence Darrow, whose clever maneuvering saved Richard Loeb and Nathan Leopold from the hangman's noose, is now in Dayton carefully studying how to best defend Professor John T. Scopes, the high school biology teacher who expounded the theory of evolution to his pupils. So this article almost sounds like John T. Scopes is being painted as a martyr for evolution. So it's very interesting because even as going back to the 1920s, like how newspaper headlines seem to be very hostile towards biblical Christianity, which a lot of us may think when we look back towards the 1920s, we were thinking that Christianity was the big thing and that's what pretty much anybody who is anybody adhered to, but these headlines are actually quite striking. But I did find these are both from the same newspaper clipping from 1925, but this particular newspaper has some sympathetic words or a favorable perspective of William Jennings Bryan that I just kind of wanted to share here. The article holds, he was empathetic in declaring his enthusiasm for education. He made a plea for the child, saying that children are here as a part of God's plan and not of their own volition, having no choice of race, country, or environment. There should be no conflict and no lack of harmony in education and religion, in his opinion. This result can be obtained only by education attending the training of the mind, and religion the training of the heart. I actually like the way that's worded there, attending the training of the mind and then religion at the training of the heart. It's kind of like the science is the how, but faith is the why. Mr. Bryan endorsed the position of Governor Austin Peay in saying that the people of Tennessee would rather give up their schools than their Bible. School books, he said, teach the things of the present life, and the Bible the things of eternal life. Mr. Bryan believes in science, but agrees with Tolstoy that it is necessary to know the science of how to live. So there were some newspaper headlines that seemed to be um, quite in favor of Mr. Bryan's perspective on Christianity, and but there were other headlines, as we saw formerly, that were very hostile to Christian faith and the Christian perspective. But I just kind of wanted to conclude with a little bit of monkey business. So this was funny when I came across it, but this article holds the following. Ben T. McKenzie, former Attorney General of this benighted state, and one of that ignorant galaxy of Southern attorneys for the prosecution in the famous evolution trial against the young high school teacher John T. Scopes, was fined $50 and costs for being drunk and disorderly and held to the grand jury on a charge of transporting bootleg booze here last Saturday. Evidently, the demise of the chief prosecutor and famous prohibition advocate, William Jennings Bryan, caused Mackenzie to decide to follow the opposite road. So, everyone, in conclusion, let's not get up to any monkey business, but I thought you'd find that humorous. So, I just wanted to thank you for your time and just listening to my presentation. So, I hope you all enjoyed that and you all have a great night. All right, God bless.